Well, I have learned my own fair share of lessons over the last decade or so, coaching teenagers, coaching parents and adults as a school teacher myself. And so in today's video, I'm going to share with you what I wish I actually heard and learned in the beginning when I was first starting out. 11 key lessons today. There's way more than 11, of course, but this is like maybe part one of a mini series for you. 11 key lessons I've learned as a school teacher that's made over $1 million with coaching today. Amazing. Now, if you want the part two, all you need to do is just comment down below part two. I'll make sure that I film that for you as well. Now, let's get right into it. Like yourself, I'm a school teacher. My subject areas are physical education and religious education. They're my jam. And you can only imagine, especially if you're in a similar subject area to me, I thoroughly enjoyed my role with kids. We were talking sensitive topics, sensitive issues, body image, peer pressure, especially in the PE department. Like that was my jam. And so I knew very quickly that I didn't want to stay in schools full time, but I wanted a similar role outside of the school walls. So you have two options after today's video. You will look to coaching as a supplemental income, additional way to create impact for parents and teenagers. Option two is you will look to this to replace your full-time salary. Both options work. You just get to decide. You're no longer stuck as a teacher in an outdated system. And there is no shame around staying as a teacher, by the way. 90% of our members inside Teen Coach Academy are still teachers, and they are incredible at what they do. They look to coaching to make that supplemental income. Awesome. So for me specifically, and I can only speak from experience, me personally, I knew that I wanted to move out of schools and go full time with coaching. Eventually, I didn't quit my job right away. Eventually, it was a bit of a slow burn. The coaching income grew, and then I replaced it. Cool. Now, my first lesson today that I want to share with you, as a school teacher, especially with my subject areas in RE and PE, my classroom skills naturally were coaching skills. I was already coaching, especially in my leadership roles as a teacher, and I went above and beyond when it came to school excursions, student retreats, leadership days, peer support programs, PE on the field, etc. Like I was already coaching. I was a sport coach as well too. So even outside of school walls, I was a youth minister, basketball coach. Like I was already coaching. And so I knew and I saw very early on that I had existing skill sets that I could transfer into the coaching space, especially because in the first few months of me trying to suss out this industry, I came across a lot of life coaches. I came across life coaching courses, and obviously when I started to look into these things, I'm like, this is school curriculum. This is school well-being. I'm doing this every single day. Managing student behavior, building trust with young people, asking great questions. I'm like, this is great. I don't need to reinvent the wheel here. This is what I do every single day. So I can't stress this enough. Whether you see this or not, and you eventually will the longer you stay in our world, your existing classroom skills are already coaching skills. Especially as teachers, how we're able to break down complex ideas or teach through symbols or stories, we do that. You have a huge advantage over a lot of life coaches that don't have that hands-on experience, especially with young people. Now, I'm not saying you have to be a school teacher in order to thrive in the teen coaching space, but it will give you a unique advantage if you are a teacher. And if you're not, you'll be surrounded by a lot of teachers who have this level of skill set and professionalism and knowledge. Can you imagine the proximity you can gain by being around teachers like this inside Teen Coach Academy? Once again, a lot of life coaches don't have that proximity to teachers with hands-on experience in schools and in classrooms. In fact, on that note, our certification flagship program, Teen Coach Practitioner, it hasn't only been built by coaches, it's been built by teachers, school teachers, school teachers that have doctorates in education. We've built our certification programs in mind so you feel well supported to match and mirror the expectations from schools today, not just to only coach young people, but to partner with parents and schools. That's why I'm incredibly proud of our Teen Coach Practitioner course because of how it's been built. Not just the coaching, but our teacher caps are on as well. And that's something to look forward to if you're not in there just yet. That's my first lesson. Your classroom skills, my classroom skills, were already coaching skills. I just had to trust myself to transfer them into the coaching space. The second lesson is I learned very quickly that parents are willing to pay for coaching. Really, really important. I can't stress this enough. Parents are willing to pay, whether that's low ticket or high ticket. And from my experience, it's always been high ticket. Parents are willing to pay for their babies to receive mindset and confidence support from a life coach, in particular, a teen coach. Now, in the industry as school teachers, we're not conditioned to make a lot of money. I know I wasn't anyway. We don't come into the market to make money. If we wanted to make a lot of money, we wouldn't have become school teachers, right? We would have, joined sales departments or joined the corporate world and work up the ladder. Like we're not in schools to make multiple six figures. That's not where our headspace is at. So when you transfer into coaching, you're naturally going to question your value. You're naturally going to question whether parents will be willing to pay or not. That's just a limiting belief you need to overcome, which I help you with anyway inside Teen Coach Academy. Especially when you start watching other people and learning how they're charging an X amount of dollars for parents. Now, these parents are not well-off parents. Some of them are, but a lot of them are just everyday people. Some of them are single parents. Some of them where they don't even have the money, they ask their grandparents to invest. This is possible. Parents are willing to pay. And so when I started to see that, especially when I first had one of my first clients, like their parent offered to pay me. I believe it was my first client was $1,000. My heart dropped. I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my God, light bulbs. I was like, I can't believe this parent is going to be paying $1,000. Now that was the beginning moment for me. And so if you're thinking about how much to charge, don't go below $1,000. Golden rule. That's my expectation anyway, especially if you're a school teacher that has experience. If you've got absolutely no experience with teenagers, different story, you go below. But if you're a school teacher, I do not want you to be charging less than $1,000 for your first teenage client. Now, you might be curious, but how do I do that? How do I schedule it? How do I structure it? Don't worry, that's what we teach inside Teen Coach Practitioner. But if you're wanting a little bit more of a smaller step inside our world, one of my latest books, it's called Beyond the Bell. The link is down below. I give you a beautiful introduction into 12 specific steps to start teen coaching. I highly recommend you grab that copy because one, it's a digestible way to start in our world, and two, it will really set the stage for you if you are considering joining Teen Coach Practitioner certification level. Cool. But that was the second lesson. Parents are willing to pay. Given they see the value and you demonstrate the value, which my book helps you do, they will pay for coaching. The third lesson that I want to share with you today is that communication with parents is a superpower. We already do this. If you're a teacher like me and you go above and beyond, you don't just wait for parent-teacher interviews. You discuss things with parents throughout the year. Maybe you introduce yourself. And hey, maybe you really thrive at parent-teacher interviews as well. And parents actually want to come and see you. The kids love you. They drag their parents along or willingly take that initiative. Your existing communication with how you speak to parents is a superpower inside teen coaching. And if it isn't just yet, that's okay. Once again, that's what I can teach you with. But you're already communicating with parents. Those conversations in my early days allowed me to learn how to listen and guide parents and empower them and partner with them. It's not teacher versus parent. It's teachers and parents working closer together like a village to guide this young person in life and in school. And so I knew very early on, once again, that that's what allowed me to really stand out from a lot of coaches working with young people, is that I treat parents like my partners in this. This is a partnership, which means if parents are not willing to be on board with coaching, I don't work with the teenager. So a lot of you, you're so used to just seeing the kids. With me personally, I want both parents on board, and the right ones will. You will never have to chase parents in the teen coaching world. Parents in our world opt in. Parents in our world want to pay. Parents in our world want to learn and want to be coached as well. Parents in the school world, goodness me, it's like you're trying to draw blood from a stone. It's extremely hard, and a lot of them treat us poorly as teachers. I promise you, you are not going to face that when it comes to teen coaching. You will be treated better inside your coaching business by parents. Because once again, I'm a proof of that, and my clients inside the academy are a proof of that as well. The next lesson that I want to share with you is even though we provide certification, it's not to make you feel like you're not qualified enough. We are forever long life learners. And so certification in our world is built and designed to give you that next level of income and impact, which means I don't want you to just wait until you get certified. You've just spent 3, 4, or 5+ years in university to get a degree. That stands for something. I want you to leverage that. My university degree has allowed me to make so much money in coaching. It's never a waste. You will be judged very positively by parents by displaying your university degree in teaching. So yes, you don't need another certification. Although we provide it, it's about the next level for us. It's not you need this to start. I hope that's landing really well, but you do you. Once again, if you feel more confident with the certification, amazing, we give that to you. You can harness our name, you can leverage our platform. We provide you with the credentials, etc. But once again, you don't join my world because you don't feel like you're enough. You join my world because you want to level up to the next stage of your career and income with go-getters who are thriving in this space. There's a difference there. Awesome. Amazing. I hope that landed really, really well. So your experience with teenagers, that stands for something. Teaching, school camps, summer camps, church youth ministry, etc. The next lesson that I learned is parents, they're not wanting me to be perfect with their teenagers. They want a safe adult that their kids can lean on. So my parents don't question my credentials. They trust me. Of course, social media branding and authority and social proof matters here. But I've never had a parent question my credentials. I've never had a parent ask me, can you show me your resume? Can you show me your certificate of coaching? Never, ever have I ever been questioned that over the last 10+ years. So I want to reassure you that if you're coming across parents like this, either your marketing is off and you're not displaying enough social proof, or two, these people are probably not your buyers anyway. Because me personally, I don't want to work with parents that all they care about is credentials. I can respect the fact that they want someone qualified. I can respect that. But if that's the only thing they're going to judge me on, not my parent. I'm not willing to deal with it. I'm not here to convince anyone. I'm not here to try to defend myself in the market. My platforms are very transparent. They can consume me until they have built enough trust to have that conversation with me. Amazing. Can you see and hear how empowering that is as a coach and as a teacher? We're not here to convince anyone. I don't want you to feel like you're always defending yourself. That's why social media does matter. And that's another point for another day. Another lesson I've learned is coaching is not tutoring. So obviously tutoring is very specific to grades and fixing grades, going from C's to A's and all that good stuff. Coaching is more about accountability. Coaching is more about building confidence and mindset, addressing and eliminating resistance and limiting beliefs around the tasks that they have to do. So a lot of you that have students, or maybe you're tutoring clients, if you happen to be a tutor as well, your kids are not doing the work. That's not a grades problem. That's a personal problem. So with coaching, we help with personal problems because that's the main resistance behind everything that's going on in either school or the home. Relationship breakdown, body image issues, communication with their parents, emotional intelligence. That's coaching. That's what I help you with. Once again, you're already either doing this or you come to us to learn all those tools and coaching frameworks as well. It's the best of both worlds. These skills are what's going to change a teenager's life. Awesome. And we're going to be working very closely with parents as well to communicate the way we're helping teenagers enhance their emotional intelligence, grow their confidence, build resilience. Because we're not there for them to just succeed in school right now. We're there to build them up for success come after school. A really cool lesson that I've learned is your story matters more than you think. Which is crazy because as teachers, we're so private. You're not really supposed to share your personal story in schools. You're not there on social media parading online and being an influencer. Like we're not online publicly as teachers. It's almost impossible to find us on Facebook or Instagram. However, in the coaching space, it is another superpower because parents that are looking to hire coaches for their teenagers, they're not looking for another teacher that can teach content. They're looking for an adult that can empower and influence their son or daughter. And your story is going to allow you to display that influence in front of them on social media. Now, you don't have to be public. This can be private. Eventually, as you grow, you're going to come across new people or new parents online. Your personal story is what's going to inspire them. You'll be amazed how many people hire me, not because I'm a coach, but because I'm a woman of faith, because I love my fitness, because I was raised by a single mother and I was able to beat all the odds coming from divorced parents. That's an extension of my story. I'm very open about my faith and my family. And so, yes, I am a coach, but there's other reasons why someone decides to hire me as a coach other than someone else is because of how vulnerable and how open and transparent I am about my story. And I get to choose the angles that I display online. I don't have to tell everyone everything about my life. So I just want to reassure you, I'm a public figure that lives a private life. You still get to choose which angles of yourself you want to display online. But parents extremely, extremely appreciate when you share personal sides of you that allow you to really start to influence and motivate and build more of trust with parents online. Sophisticated parents today, they want to know the person they're handing their baby over to because of how much is going on in schools, how much parents have been hurt, how much teenagers have been hurt by adults. Parents are starting to question more, so they should. So they're not going to hand their kids over to you just because you've got coach in your bio. They want to know, what are you doing day to day? Display, model. Don't just tell me, show me. Amazing. Once again, this is why people have lost trust in the school system. You've got PE teachers that smoke or that are overweight. Right now, for the most part, if they've got health issues, I can understand. But for the most part, can you imagine seeing a PE teacher smoking? It's embarrassing. Teenagers that see business teachers, like teachers that are teaching business studies, but they've never owned a business in their life, kids see through that. It's embarrassing. And I'm just calling it as it is. Shoot the messenger if you want. I'm just calling it how it is. You have teachers that are teaching religion and they are atheists. Just calling it how it is. We call BS on that. And so parents today, once again, the point here is they want to see how you're displaying what you're teaching. Show me, don't just tell me. And your personal story allows you to do that. The next lesson that I want to share with you is that you can deeply care about teenagers and make a lot of money here without burning out. See, I had poor habits in the beginning, starting coaching. I was conditioned to work very hard for my money, right? Obviously, you've got teacher hours and after school hours, marking, you're sacrificing your school holidays, etc. You're not getting paid for school excursions and camps and all that other good stuff. And so I was used to working very hard for my money. I was used to very long days as a teacher. So I thought I had to work very hard in coaching to make the same amount of income, if not more. And that couldn't be further from the truth. See, I work anywhere between 5 to 15 hours a week. That's my full-time work. It's not even a full-time job when you think of those hours. It's way less than what a lot of you are doing in teaching schools. And don't worry, I get it. I know the feeling. My clients struggle in the beginning because they keep searching for things to do. They adopt these bad habits or they can't unlearn bad habits from teaching because they think working more means making more money. That's not the case here with coaching. When it comes to coaching teenagers and adults, we sell outcomes. We don't sell time. So parents are buying an outcome. Whether that takes an hour, whether that takes 12 weeks, whether that takes X amount of hours, it doesn't matter. Once we achieve the outcome, the service is delivered. And I want you to think of it this way. Would you rather sit in a dentist chair for 6 hours, or would you rather get out of there within 20 minutes? Because parents are buying speed, parents are buying accountability, parents are buying success and outcomes, regardless of how long it's taken you to achieve the outcome. And in fact, if it takes you less time and less headaches and less pain to achieve an outcome, that actually automatically means that your services will be more expensive because you're helping your parents save time and pain and heartache trying to figure these out on their own. So the lesson is you can care deeply about teenagers and you can get great results and make great money without burning out. You're building a high income skill in our world, and you'll start to work similar to me, anywhere between 5 to 15 hours a week. The next lesson is I noticed that I don't need a lot of clients. I actually don't have a big audience. I don't have that many clients. I don't need that many clients. You're thinking as a teacher, and I used to manage what, 25 plus, 30 plus kids at one time in one classroom, and then you multiply that by 5 or 6 classes on your timetable. That's a lot of kids to manage over a school year. That is not the case in teen coaching. You could be managing anywhere between, once again, 5 to 15 teenagers in the year. And depending on how much you're charging, and we build a retention model, so we want the same clients with us for longer, you don't need more than 15 clients a year to be on, whether that is 5 or 6 figures, depending on how much you're charging. And then I'll get you to do the math around that. Can you see what a big difference in load that is? You need to work through your headspace around that, because it comes back to our conditioning. You're so used to working with so many kids for such little money. I can appreciate why you would be skeptical around that when it comes to coaching. But once again, it's only a matter of when, not if. The longer you stay in our world and you consume and you learn and you implement, you start to realize, just like how I am right now, you won't need that many clients to make a very generous income, because this is a high income skill and you're keeping your clients, your parents, your teenagers with you for longer. And my belief system is if kids can stay in school for 6, 10 plus years in their school lifetime, well, couldn't they stay with a coach for at least 6 to 12 months? My clients stay with me anywhere between 2 to 3 years. And so I just hold myself accountable to be really good at what I do. And they stay with me for longer because there's different stages of development. Awesome. There's different stages of transition. You've got different ages that you're dealing with, and they come with different problems. So hang in there and keep your clients with you for longer. The next lesson is impact and income can definitely exist together. So it kind of just comes back to us being conditioned to not make a lot of money. Once you start to get a taste of this, it's not just about the income. It's not just about the impact. It's the identity that comes with it. This is no longer a fear of failure. I never really had a fear of failure going into this. I started to catch on pretty quickly how I was able to really stand out as a coach because of my teacher background. Every single coaching mastermind that I've been in, I've been able to be their top student. And I take a lot of pride in that. You know, you work for that. And sometimes my success story can be a little bit misleading to people coming in if they don't know my background. And so what's really allowed me to be a six-figure student in someone's mastermind is not because I was just great as a coach. I went in as a teacher. I went in with the level of professionalism that can't be taught. It only is gained through experience. I went in with the right language, the right mentality, the sophistication, the confidence to work very closely with parents that trusted me. And so there's so many reasons as to why I was able to become six-figure student success stories in people's masterminds. And now, of course, making over $1 million with coaching. A lot of it is due to my teaching background. That's why I've never really shied away from the fact that I am a teacher, because it's given me a unique advantage in the market. However, my identity was tested a little bit. My belief in myself was tested a little bit. My brand in front of people that I already knew, I was tested a little bit to just really own my skill sets. See, there's a saying, be humble in life, but don't be humble in your business. And to some extent that can be true. I was starting to learn the importance of actually tooting my own horn in my social media platform and like really owning my work. Like, who am I? Who am I going to be portrayed as now? How are people going to actually receive me now? Now that I've make more money, now that I drive a nicer car, now that I've been able to stay in five-star hotels, now that I've been able to diversify my lifestyle, my residence across the world, and build that freedom for myself. I started to question that. And it was more of a fear of success for me growing into this role. It was never a fear of failure. I knew I was always going to win because I just put my mindset to that. And so for where you're sitting right now, you might be thinking that too. This is not a fear of failure for you. You're in the game already. You already started. It's just a different title. You're wearing the teacher title cap right now. We're now going to throw in a coaching cap for you at the same time. Who are you if you decide to actually do this? Who are you if you actually succeed? What are you going to be like when you make more money? And I truly believe that money just amplifies you and your character. So if you're a really good person, you're going to become so much more generous when you make more money as well. So please don't be afraid of money. The last lesson that I wanted to, I guess, end on today's video is believing that you're allowed to do this. You don't need permission, but I'm going to give it to you anyway. You're allowed to do this. You are not stuck. You owe no one nothing. You're in debt to no one. You're in debt to no job. You're in debt to no system. If you decide to make this decision today to make a change or just to turn the wheel a little bit, push the car a little bit for a little bit of momentum, you're allowed to do that. You owe no one any explanation. But can you imagine if you took that risk, calculated risk? Where would your life be over the next 5, 10, 15 plus years? If you decide to just get curious and actually give this a real shot. Everything starts to shift when you start to believe that you're allowed to do this. Amazing. That's one of the beautiful lessons that I wanted to end on, but importantly, share with you that regardless of what happens, I've always chosen to trust myself. People tell me or ask me all the time, Lanita, what allows you to be so confident? Because to some extent I sell confidence, honestly. Like you're feeding into my confidence right now. And I can understand and respect that. And I want you to, because I know I'm the most confident person in the room. I have to be when I'm leading my clients. They're following my lead. And so I back myself 110% inside Teen Coach Academy. Now, people have asked me how I've been able to do that. It's because I trust myself. I know that I'm going to fail forward. I know that I'm going to get, it's not failure, it's just simply feedback. I know things are not always going to go to plan, but I just trust myself to handle it. So with everything that I've shared with you today, whether you're wanting to stay in the classrooms or go beyond the classroom, have a supplemental income or full-time income, I just hope you decide to trust yourself and to back yourself and to follow through on the promises that you make to yourself. That's what makes someone confident. When they continue to fulfill the promises that they've made to themselves, when they continue to give themselves grace if they've made mistakes along the way, when they continue to trust themselves regardless of the outcome. I know I'm going to continue winning in this market because I'm going to handle it. I've got my own back. I've got your back. I hope you have your own back as well. And I trust you've really enjoyed the lessons today. This was only part one. So once again, if you want part two, comment part two on the thread down below. But these lessons have dramatically allowed me to make over $1 million with coaching today. And as you can see, it's actually not much about strategy. Don't worry about strategy. I will teach you the strategy. That's learnable skill. The business, the marketing, the sales, that'll all come. A lot of it is internal. When you finally own yourself and your skill sets as a teacher, when you finally give yourself permission to transition into coaching, and you finally allow yourself to just be curious and trust yourself along the way. If it was easy, everyone would be doing this. If working with teenagers was easy, everyone would become a teacher. But we know that regardless that this is not easy, we know that this is worth it.